Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to today's webinar on a step-by-step process for successful sterility investigations. We have quite a full agenda to get through today. We'll be going over what the FDA expects of us when we encounter our sterility failure investigations. We'll go through stages of investigation, what the lab should look for versus what the manufacturing area should be looking for. We'll also go through some tools that can help you to determine your root cause, categorizing your results, how to address impact to your lots affected, any areas, parameters, and variables that may be out there to also investigate, how we should document what we find, and then how we come about a corrective and preventative action plan to make sure we have combated the root cause in general. There is a guidance right now that many of you probably are familiar with from FDA. It's the guidance for industry for sterile drug products produced by aseptic processing. I have a few bullets here to remind us what that guidance actually says. Basically saying that we should take care when we are doing our sterility test to make sure that we are not contaminating the samples. If in the event we do observe any type of microbial growth, we should render that lot non-sterile and start a deviation investigation. We talk about invalidity of sterility tests a lot, and we'll go through this a little bit later on in more detail. But the guidance states that an initial positive test would only be invalid only in an instance in which microbial growth can be unequivocally ascribed to laboratory error. We have to make sure that we have conclusive and documented evidence to make sure that the contamination is seen as part of testing, and if that occurs, then you can perform another test. In the event that you don't have any evidence, stating that, this is definitely a testing error, if your evidence is inconclusive, you should err on the side of caution and reject the batches as not conforming to your sterility requirements. After we do the investigation and look at everything involved with the manufacture of the product, the testing of the samples, that comprehensive written investigation should include your corrective actions and what your conclusion should be as to the impact to the lot. When we talk about sterility, there's a lot of definitions about what sterility actually means. In our industry, we're talking about something being free from viable microorganisms. We say that in our industry, something is sterile when the probability is less than 1 out of 1 million that it's contaminated with reproducing bacteria. We can't test everything, obviously, so we take a select set of samples at different times to test. And sterility testing uses methods that employ membrane filtration, direct transfer in order to test. So it is more of a qualitative test as opposed to a quantitative test. You should be testing your sterility samples in a designated area. They are usually placed in cold storage for delivery to the micro lab. The test is usually carried out in aseptic conditions. Your area in the laboratory should be an environment that is adapted in which the sterility test should be performed. So that would be in an isolator system or a clean room. The working conditions in which those tests are performed should be monitored by environmental monitoring while you're actually doing the testing as well, much like you would do in a manufacturing area. As I said before, the testing is going to be done in either a Class A laminar flow hood located in a Class B clean room or in an isolator. You should have a laminar flow cabinet or isolator, and those should be certified at least annually for compliance with specified conditions. We're going to have, as I said before, a robust testing plan with regard to environmental monitoring. We're going to do settle plates, air sampling, surface monitoring, personnel monitoring. Laminar flow should be monitored as well as the background area. And these are all data that we're going to check and collect as part of a supposed sterility failure investigation. So it's very important that here in the beginning of the webinar, we're laying the groundwork for all of the the different types of samples and parameters and variables that you're going to be looking at